everybody. I thought I'd go over the TrackVia system myself instead of assigning it to one of the people on the presentation. Uh, Start TrackVia. Log in. And when you log in, you're brought to the home page. Um, it's just the basic page that it's like a home page, like a website would have. It shows favorite views that I've set up, and favorite views shows anything you want to get to quickly. And it tells you what the view name is, the format, the table it's related to, and the app it's related to. We're here to look at the PWS customer rate review. So I'll click this all records and all fields. As you can see, it's similar to Excel, except it's better than Excel because it's in a database format, which gives you the flexibility to change the data, modify the data, um, and do any number of reporting or charting features to it. As a reminder, I entered all of this stuff by hand. The information came from Desert Micro from the customer information sheets that I had printed out in January. It took me this long to go through this information. I would have been done sooner, but I was sick and everything in between that. Okay, so as the presentation has mentioned, the purpose of the customer rate review is to see whether or not we're charging the customer enough based on our listed fees. Okay, and this is important because we'll know which customers we need to charge additional to and where, and which customers we're okay on. So let's look at the first customer I have entered, account number 1002. To access that account, you click this little arrow right here. It'll take you directly to the record. So here we go. And this is the form that I created from the table that I created. To create a form, you have to have a table. It is, as you can see, it has the record locator. It tells you when it was created, what time and by who. It tells you when it was updated, what time and by who. That way I'll know if anybody enters information for me, which you guys probably will. I'll know who entered it and when it was updated. And that alleviates people saying, well, no, I didn't update that record. Because in Desert Micro's notes, there's so many notes that are kept there that you have to scroll through all of them to figure out who did what and what date that they did it. Most of the recent stuff is on the top, but if you're looking for something older in the file, then you have to scroll through all of it and read through all of it, which is kind of time consuming. Okay, moving on with this customer. Here's the basic statistics about this customer: the account, what customer type, the area, the number of cans they have, the services per week, the size, the container number, the fuel surcharge, which I need to actually edit this and move it down there, but I'll do it later. I've also set up contract numbers, which is an automatic number, so that we can print customer contracts for customers in this database that are verified and completed and they're active. Now, this customer rate review database will only house customers that are active or suspended. Okay? Even though I have these check boxes here that say this, I still need to keep these here in case the current active or suspended customers get terminated or become inactive. Okay? I don't want a bunch of customers in here that are not active. Okay, now to review the charges, which is the purpose of this. You can see what we bill the customer monthly is $126 for service. What we bill them for tipping fee is $143.19. What we bill list for service is $130. What we list for tipping fee is $143.19. As you can see by these figures, the total billed service and tipping fee is this. The total listed is this. So what you gather from this is that this customer needs to be charged an additional $4.20 on their service fee. Tipping fee is okay. And I even give you a percentage of the difference of service billed versus list. You can see tipping fee is 0, which is where we want it. Service fee is, we're in the hole, 3.2%. Okay? And you can add a note. I've also added a note here as an example that this customer needs to be billed an additional $4.20 on service fee. Now that I've showed you the basics of what the customer rate review does. I'm going to show you some of the charts and stuff I've done that also comes directly from this rate review entry form, as well as some customers whose data, whose billed service and tipping fee is way in the hole. Okay, let's do that now. Let's go back to this view. And just scroll out. Oh, I'm scrolling closer. Let me just go to a table. Okay, I've created some charts that shows you a picture's view of the information contained in this in these records. So let's look at that. Okay. A picture's view of the information contained in this in these records. So let's look at that. Okay. In these records. So let's look at that. Okay. This is the summary of the difference between the difference billed versus listed. As you can see here, it shows you what customers are in the hole at a glance. You can just scroll through. These are 1.5 customers. So you can see these over here are okay because it's 0. But then you click on this customer. Even though the account number isn't shown, you can click right here on this arrow and it'll take you directly to that record. Okay, so you can see this customer 3288. The service billed is 7875. The listed is 103. So you can see the tipping fee is correct. We're $25 in the hole in billing this customer. So we need to bill this customer an additional $25.21 on service. That's quite a big difference. It's a 24% difference. That means we're losing 24% on this customer. I can go back. Let's find one that there's some in here that you're really going to be surprised. Okay, now you see this $84. Let's look at this one. Account number 2007. They have 2 containers, 1.5. Number of cans are 2. We're $84 in the hole in charging this customer. 40% loss on this customer, on our service. Tipping fee is correct. We're not losing on tipping fee, we're losing on our service. It's really a good application I created because it gives me a glance on what customers were making money on and what customers were not. And this number here is the total of everything so far for all the customers that are in this application. This is the total amount we're in the hole so far, which is $5,000. Okay. Now all the customers, as I said, are not in here. I'm trying to find another customer. There was a larger customer in here. And you see, it also totals it for you by the container size. So the total, we're in the hole for 1.5s that are in this so far, is $800. Okay? And then it moves on to the 3 cubics. You see, there's 265 records under the 3 cubics. Now, 3 cubics are our largest inventory. Here's the customer. See that? Wine. Let's check out the record. Number of cans is 1. Services per week are 3. We're in the hole on the tipping fee. And we're in the hole on the service, and the reason is I figured out in Desert Micro, it's entered incorrectly. So this customer's account needs to be corrected, but we have to take a look at it. Since this customer's been set up wrong, how are we going to tell them they need to pay an additional $292 on their bill? We can't. We're going to have to eat it. Okay? So for service, we're 8% in the hole, and tipping fee, we're 65% in the hole, which means we're losing $277 on tipping fee for this customer, which means we have to make that up out of our service, and we're already in the hole on that. So this is what, I don't want to go over any more customers or records, but to give you a look at the capacity of TrackVia, we will now look at the different charts that I've done. Here's one chart, customers by village, which this chart shows you all the customers by percentage based on their container size, what village they're in. See? Tamooning, we're 51%, and this is not complete yet. There's still some data that has to be entered into this rate review application. I expect to be done with it as soon as possible. And if, like I said, like Angela said in the presentation, if you hover over something, it gives you the data, which is very useful to see what these different slices of this pie chart mean. Anyway, this is the basics of TrackVia. It's very useful. You can do many different things. Let me show you the example I was quoting in the presentation regarding the live data by Medi. We'll go to this one now. So if you see here, it's there easily. All I did was import it. Here's the actual chart that we viewed during the presentation. And like I said, you can click on that. It tells you in January 2013 we repaired 38 containers. January 2013, there were 9 new containers we made, and there were 11 that were assembled and issued out to customers. So, as I said, you can click on this to drill down. Drill down means that it will follow the data